CNN recently decided to visit Iran's regime, but it doesn't seem like the trip unfolded the way they expected. "We've just crossed the border and are now inside Iran," the reporter said. "The Iranian government granted us a visa to come here and report on the situation in the country." From there, the crew began making their way toward the capital as quickly as possible. But Iran is massive and the distances are enormous. Meanwhile, Iranian officials continued insisting that they could sustain their military campaign for a very long time. According to them, their missile arsenal remains vast and fully capable. But think about that for a moment. The same regime that invited foreign journalists in is also claiming it will remain powerful for decades. Does that strike you as suspicious? CNN continued reporting from inside the country, documenting their journey toward Tehran. Despite hours of driving, one detail stood out. The reporter said his messages to family members still hadn't been delivered because the government had imposed a nationwide internet blackout. Yet somehow CNN was still able to film inside the country and send footage out to a US news network. Along the way, the crew reported that gas stations had no long lines and that fuel appeared readily available. Of course, there might be another explanation. Perhaps the reason there are no long lines is because many people are staying indoors while their country is being bombed. They also pointed out that stores appeared well stocked, even with fresh produce like fruits and vegetables. But again, that observation raises questions. Shelves can remain full when people simply cannot afford to buy groceries. According to the report, there was little visible panic anywhere. Everything appeared calm. Critics argue that this type of reporting resembles a guided tour of North Korea, where visitors are only shown the most polished parts of the country, while the reality remains hidden behind the scenes. After several hours of driving, the reporter stopped for coffee, noting that all the shops were open and fully stocked and that coffee was readily available. But at the very same time, a completely different scene was unfolding elsewhere. Missiles were being intercepted in the sky, one after another. Massive defensive strikes lit up the air as incoming rockets were intercepted above Israeli cities. This was not a small incident. It was a large-scale attack happening in real time. And the missiles weren't being fired at empty fields. They were aimed at cities. While television reports might show calm streets in certain areas, other realities are harder to capture on camera. Armed checkpoints, state-controlled media, and warnings from the Iranian Revolutionary Guard that citizens showing support for foreign actions could face severe punishment. Even Iranian athletes have faced backlash. When members of Iran's women's national team declined to sing the national anthem at an international event, state media figures suggested they should be punished harshly and accused of treason. So while a reporter might stop for coffee after hours on the road, the broader reality inside the country may look very different for ordinary citizens. Meanwhile, the conflict itself continues to escalate. US and Israeli forces say they have launched waves of strikes targeting Iran's military infrastructure. According to military officials, air defense systems have been destroyed and missile launch capability significantly reduced. "Our combined forces have relentlessly destroyed Iran's air defenses," one commander said. "We are continuing to locate and eliminate remaining systems." Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has also been meeting with his security cabinet to determine the next steps in what officials are calling the second phase of the operation. According to military briefings, the goal is clear: weaken Iran's ability to project power beyond its borders and eliminate its ballistic missile capabilities. Despite claims from Tehran that the regime can endure indefinitely, many analysts argue the situation on the ground tells a different story. Military reports suggest that Iran's retaliatory missile capacity has already been significantly reduced. Some officials estimate that as much as 80% of certain missile capabilities have been neutralized. At the same time, the political debate continues. Some critics argue that the war was launched without a clear plan and could drag on longer than expected. Others insist the campaign is necessary to prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons and threatening neighboring countries. The question now is what comes next. Will the regime survive for decades, as Iranian officials claim, or will the pressure from military operations, economic strain, and internal unrest eventually lead to dramatic political change? For now, the world is hearing two very different versions of the same story. One side says the regime is strong and stable. The other says its power is collapsing faster than anyone expected, and the truth may lie somewhere in between.